Well, South Australia has taken the crown for the second year running. A new report from the Business Council of Australia has revealed that the state is the most supportive of business when it looks at the reduction in red tape. Joining me now is South Australian Premier Peter Malinauskas. Peter, thanks so much for your time. We've spoken about this in the past. Was this a conscious effort from you? And what more have you got to do to make sure that business continues to invest in South Australia?
I think first and foremost, Laura, this has been a conscious decision of the government to make sure that our tax policies are as attractive to future business investment as possible. You know, we've got a lot of opportunity before our state. We're only going to capitalise on it if we see private capital choose to invest here, and stability of tax policy is central to that effort. But I don't think you can have a result like we did with the BCA's report yesterday and then rest on your laurels. As Bram Black from the BCA has repeatedly said, he wants to, I think what people want to see is competitive federalism. So we should anticipate that if we want to hold on to this title, we've got to earn it. And that means there's always more work to be done.
What's the lead in the saddlebags for you in terms of federal government restrictions and red tape?
Oh, look, I think, I'm not so much focused on the Commonwealth. We've got to focus on what we reasonably can control. And, the state government enjoys a good, productive working relationship with the feds, but, I'm responsible for what I can reasonably control. And I do think there's more work to be done. I mean, just yesterday I was with the Hotels Association locally and discussing with them, some basic things we can do that, from a government might not look like much, but to a small business owner who's just trying to get by and focus on their task of serving their customers, anything that we can do to make their life easier is appreciated. So, we've got to look at it by sector to see what more can be done. Yeah. But the big challenge, and this came out from the BCA yesterday, is we've got to increase housing supply around the country, and there's a particularly urgent need to do that in South Australia.
Yeah, there certainly is, and we've spoken in the past about the impediments that really you don't have a lot of control over, and that's the EBPC Act. I think everyone around the country wants to see that reformed and changed in some way. We've also previously spoken about the university caps. That ultimately failed through the Parliament. Are you relieved at that or worried that it could come back to bite you?
Look, the truth, a bit of column A, a bit of column B. Look, we were very grateful that the federal government largely on their proposed university international student caps, they had largely quarantined the impact on South Australia, which is exactly what we were advocating for, but there was a big impact on the eastern states. I'm concerned that the LNP, or the Liberals, blocked this in the Senate because they want to do yet even more harm to our higher education sector, so which of course will be worse still. My personal view is this: in a state like South Australia, we've got capacity to have a lot more international students, and we want them. International students provide, first and foremost, huge sources of revenue for our higher education sector, which underpins R&D investment in our country. We need more R&D if we want to see productivity improve, not less. And then secondly, international students provide an important source of labour, particularly amongst industries such as the hospitality and the retail sector, who are crying out for workers. So I'm not too sure why we're doing this, apart from the fact that we've got a housing supply crisis. Now, Laura, if Australia has a housing supply crisis, then maybe we should focus on housing supply rather than just, cut off our nose to spite our face as a country by curtailing international students.
Absolutely, but I've just seen Adelaide house prices are growing at a rapid rate. It's becoming a cost of living crisis in Adelaide, like it has been in Sydney and Melbourne for quite some time. So what are you saying is a solution there? More supply, but can you not make available land available as quickly as you want to? Is it not having the right skills on the skills list? What is it?
Yeah, there's a range of factors why we've got a housing supply crisis around the country. Here in South Australia, it is true, there hasn't been enough land released in the past. We've done the biggest land release in the history of the state.
Yep.
Secondly, water infrastructure, been underinvested in, undoubtedly. In terms of new trunk infrastructure that unlocks those big developments at the edges of our metropolitan area,
yep.
That's important. So we've increased that budget by tenfold in comparison to the previous 4 years. But skills is the big one. Even if we get the land and we get the water, we need tradies building these homes. And again, that speaks to the value of well-crafted skill migration policy. Because for mine, I think, if you're a skilled migrant, you're a chippy, you're a plumber, you're a sparky, you've got these skills, I would welcome them in the state of South Australia.
So you've got enough yoga teachers, but not enough tradies?
Look, yoga teachers, I'm sure, perform an important service that people need it. I'm not particularly flexible myself, so I'll pass on the yoga teachers. Look, give me a building trade any day of the week, because particularly with the work associated with AUKUS, we've got a lot of workers who we need to come into this state, and they're welcome. I don't care what part of the world they come from. If you've got a building trade and you want to work hard and you're committed to your own family and providing for them, you're welcome here in this state.
Okay, I just want to quickly touch on a couple of things before I let you go, because you're the one that put this social media ban into prominence. It is now passed the Parliament with bipartisan support, but there are concerns around the implementation of this and whether it can actually be enforced, a few privacy issues as well. Do you have lingering concerns around that, or can you not let the perfect be the enemy of the good?
Yeah, no, look, I don't have concerns. I think we've got to get it right, and I think the rest of the world is watching. So we want to work as assiduously as we can to get the model that we've got in place working. But there's 12 months to get through that detail. But know this, Laura, I mean, you'll appreciate this. I mean, these tech giants, these are the most well-capitalised, profitable and well-resourced companies that we've ever seen in human history. They have got it within their wherewithal to apply their technological know-how to implement this policy and get it done. Now, I accept that it is contrary to their interests in a financial sense, because they're ultimately advertising platforms, and they love the idea of young kids getting addicted to their platforms as they approach adulthood. And there lies the reason for government intervention. So I think there is the capacity to get this right. I think it's a big, bold reform. I think it's going to save young kids' lives, and at the very least, maybe they spend less time on their phone and more time kicking the footy or playing netball, playing an instrument. I don't care. That's healthy interaction. That's critical to a young person's development. So the country's done something good here. Albo deserves a lot of credit for his leadership, taking this up. Peter Dutton provided bipartisan support. The extremes on the right and the left, they opposed it. Well, that's what they will do. But what we saw here was leadership from the PM, a good bipartisan support from Peter Dutton, and they all deserve credit, because we're talking about our kids here and nothing's more important.
Yep, nothing is more important, and we've got to let you go, but before I do, you are a big supporter of the arts, and you know how important this is to South Australia in particular. I noticed you've got Live Golf again, you've got a great Aussie artist called Dom Dollar next year. Why are you so invested in the arts? Because not a lot of premiers and indeed leaders understand the importance of it.
Look, I mean, I think we've always got work to do in elevating the importance of the arts, because I'm a sports person and I don't profess to be an arts aficionado, but what I do know is that the arts is what makes us human, and what arts at its best invites us to think about things from someone else's perspective, and whether it be film, theatre, music, whatever, they're all capable of doing that. And just at this point in time, where the world is at, looking at issues or challenges through the context of someone else's experience or their walking in their shoes, I think we need more of that, and the arts helps us to do that.
Yeah, arts and sport as well. You did a good job at Gather Round as well. Peter Malinauskas, thanks for your time as always. I've kept you a little bit longer than I promised, so I hope you don't have to run too far. We'll see you soon.